Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're now tuned in with Game Point with 2V Streams. Today we have Christian McClease in the building along with Eric P. So how we feeling, fellas?
Feeling good.
Good, good.
You got a game last night?
Yeah.
Who'd you play?
Shelton.
Y'all won?
Yeah, by 30 points.
How
Would have
many?
been 32 points, but he missed the dunk.
Mr. Duck.
30
Missed the
points.
dunk, yeah.
How many did you score last night?
I had 36 points.
36 points. Oh,
Supposed
wow.
to be 38. Missed that
You're not
dunk.
letting that dunk go?
You got to make the dunk.
Yeah, you got to make up for that one. So let's discuss the beginning of your basketball journey, starting with freshman year. How many points were you averaging?
Like 3 points a game.
3 points a game. Were you satisfied with that?
Nah.
What do you think you could have done different?
I feel like I could have worked on my game more. Like I came in my freshman year just playing basketball. I wasn't really as dedicated to play. I was just playing just cause.
Yeah. Did you have any skill?
Yeah, I had skill, but they weren't as as good as they are now.
Yeah, but as a freshman, was it average or was it a little better than a freshman?
I would say it was average. It wasn't he should be playing more varsity. I was just like an average basketball player.
He was a spot up shooter, so they put him in certain situations like they needed a three or something like that.
Okay, got
But physically, he wasn't ready to be at the varsity level like in a full game. But yeah, he was definitely a sharpshooter then. They would put you in game situations when they needed a three at the end of the game or something like that.
Okay. How much playing time were you getting?
At the start of the season, I'll probably get in the last. If we're blowing the team out the last 2 minutes, then as season progressed, I used to get in during the second quarter, 3 minutes, get out, get back in third quarter or fourth quarter, depends on how the game was going.
Okay. Do you think that was because of your skill set or just because you were a freshman?
I would say just because they needed me, and most of the time, my freshman team, when I was a freshman, my team was we had a great team,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I just got in where I was fitting in at.
Okay. Eric, when did you start noticing Chris he can actually be something in basketball?
I'll tell you this. Did I tell the story?
Yeah, tell the story. Tell the story.
So I seen Chris. So I've known Chris. I was working in athletics when his mom was pregnant with him. And when Chris was little, he would come to the games and play with little cars and stuff on the sideline. And I always used to have to kick him off the court and stuff. It was extremely annoying.
Yeah.
His 8th grade year, they won the middle school championship.
Okay.
And it's the first time I noticed him as a basketball player. But his freshman year, I came to, I typically get to games a little later, halfway through the JV or something. But I happened to be there early, and he was lighting up this team. But as he was hitting threes, am I doing it right?
Yeah,
He's
you
doing
done it
this
right.
nonsense. So I was like, I called him over, and I'm like, you're way too good of a player to be showboating and doing that. And I think that's the first time I ever really had a conversation with you about basketball. So that's really when I noticed him. I was like, he's a really talented kid, but he's doing this and he's drawing the wrong attention to
Yeah.
himself. Yeah.
Do you recall that conversation?
Yeah.
What was all the showboating about?
It was first game of high school, so the game was packed, full steam, the whole game was full. So it was freshman. I played freshman JV, and then the freshman game we blew them out. Then the JV game, I'm like, yo, nah, I'm going crazy right now. I hit a half court shot,
Oh, wow.
I felt good. So
I didn't.
No.
so then after every shot, I'm like, I just gotta do it. So I was going like that and all that. It wasn't me showboating. I was just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the audience cause you to
Yeah,
show all the little?
yeah,
Who was in
definitely.
the crowd that made you show up, or was it just because it was packed?
It was just because it was packed. I just had to make myself look oh yeah, look at him
Yeah.
do that, yeah.
Do you like the intense game when the crowd is there, they're cheering on?
Yeah, I'll say it made me play better. It bring more fire.
Okay. Now, what changed your junior year with basketball? How many points were you averaging then?
My junior year, I averaged 22.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. How much playing time were you getting?
I used to play some games. I play the whole games. If we go on a team, I'll probably play 28 minutes. I was the key factor.
Yeah. What changed in those 2 years that you went from 3 points to 22?
I'll say that I became more dedicated. I felt like I had something to prove. I had a chip on my shoulder
Okay. Why did you feel like that?
because growing up people always like compare me to my grandfather, my uncle, my mom. So I'm like, freshman year, I'm like, I'm not. I might not make it. Like I might not live up to the hype that I'm living to. So then sophomore year, I played. I was a key factor my sophomore year too. Then sophomore year didn't go as I planned to, and then junior year I'm coming in. I worked sophomore after the season, right?
So yeah, the sophomore year was a COVID year, right?
Yeah,
We
cool.
played an extra Hill House Cross game because we had to cancel it because of COVID.
Yeah,
And I had a luncheon for the kids, and I was sitting at the table, and Chris came up and he asked me 2 questions. He said, "Could you strength train me, and could I have a job?" and I said both, yes to both. And Chris put, what people don't realize is Chris put 53 pounds of muscle on between his sophomore year and the beginning of this year. Like,
Yeah.
he lives working out. Like, he killed himself in the gym. He did all the nutrition stuff. He was getting up before school to train. So, yeah, he's a talented player, but to get to the level he was at, he put that work in.
Yeah, definitely. What led up to like the adding on the 53 pounds? What were you doing?
I had to make sacrifices.
Like what? Was it a diet? Missing out on parties? What was it?
Yeah, like I lost a couple of friends, like just like off of me working on all that. But I miss parties. I miss like having fun. Like I dedicated my time to working out and making myself better than just being a regular kid.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it definitely was worth it
Why was it worth it?
because look where I'm at today.
So you joined the 1K team along with your mom and uncle, right?
Yeah,
What were the emotions you were feeling when you did that?
I felt proud.
Just proud, nothing else?
Now I felt emotional too. Like I can't believe like I made it here. Like I came a long way from where I was at. So I'm like, nah, like I really made it. I felt proud of myself.
You know, one part of his success that most people don't see is his support system. I've never been to a game that his mom's not there, his dad's not there, his grandmother's not there, his great grandmother's not there, his uncles. If he lives in Florida now, they have a phone up, live streaming it. Like, that people don't realize how important that is. And,
Yes.
And you know, part of the reason when he asked me for a job and asked me to train him that I took all that on is because the character he had as a young man, and that is a tribute to the family that raised him.
Okay. Now, was the 1K points always a part of the plan, or is it just something that happened?
I'll say it was a part of the plan.
Were you having conversations with your mom about it, or?
I'll say my freshman year, yeah. Me, my mom, my uncle, we had a conversation like I had to join the club. Like it was no if and buts about. Like I had to get there.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm gonna get there. Trust.
What was the build up to the 1K points? Everything you went through,
Like what you mean by that?
like training with Eric, stuff like that. Like, how did you get there?
Dedication. Like,
Dedication.
I had to do it every day. Like if I didn't do it, I felt weird about not working or anything. Like times go like, oh, like yo, bro, you want to work out? Like we that was a part of me. Like it never left me. Like I had to do it. Like it was built in me.
100%. Were you working out every day?
Yeah, every day.
What time were you getting up to work out?
Probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
We worked around whatever his schedule was at the time, so it was later in the summer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was after. Like, so we would basically look at a week and be like, "How do we get 6 workouts in?" And
Like-
we would figure it out.
And it wasn't like just one workout a day. It was like workout in the morning, workout afternoon, chill, then probably workout again.
He would do strength training in the morning, speed and agility and the Vertimax in the afternoon. And then when his grandfather would come and he'd work on basketball for another hour or so after that. Like, especially this past summer, I think you probably spent 5 or 6 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Probably the
Training.
whole day working
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
How did your body handle that, all that working out?
Handling it well, like, and once you start doing that every day, it just get like not easier, but it's like I'm used to it. Like, my body was used to it. So like when I like if I didn't do it, my body felt weird not working out.
What was it like in the beginning when you first started waking up 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning?
My body was shocked.
Yeah.
Like I'm like like why am I doing this? Like why? Like why? But
I'd have to call his phone like 8 times in a
8
row to
times?
wake him up to come to the gym.
yeah,
So Eric calling you helped you roll out that bed and get up and go after
yeah.
it.
How many workouts I missed out of the whole time?
You missed one.
Yeah,
And,
I missed
I
one.
think I harped on him so much about it for weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think he wanted to miss again. 'cause
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
that was a crazy morning.
Well, why were you on him? Why were you on him so hard about missing that one workout?
Because he had dreams, and it was the only way he was gonna do what he said he wanted to do. Like
Okay.
Chris, he said a lot of things he wanted to do to me, and I was like, "There's only one way to get there." Like he was a talented basketball player, but his sophomore year, he'd go for a layup, and somebody would bump him, and he'd like get knocked on the floor and roll off the court, like because he was so skinny, he was so light. It would drive me insane. So when he started talking to me about training and stuff, I'm like, we got to put weight on you. We got to make you stronger. You could beat people to the basket, but that you're not finishing because you make body contact and you're getting knocked down. So yeah, I saw a lot of potential in him as a player, but as a person. So I just wanted to push him as hard as I could.
Why did you take him so serious when he came and he said, "I want to train and I need a job"?
What I said earlier, like I just saw the support system he had and the quality of the family around him, and I just thought that if I could help this process, any kid that came to me for a job and I had an opportunity, I would do it.
Yep.
And any kid that asked me to train them, as long as so a lot of kids ask me to train them,
Yes.
and I say yes, but when they don't show up 3 or 4 days in a row, it's like I can't put this time in because there's other kids who want to do it. So like you interviewed Willie Darden.
Yes.
I train Willie because his dad asked me to. Willie comes every time he says he's coming. So it's really, if a kid wants to strength train, they have to be self-motivated because I could be there to show you what to do and to help you. But if you're not showing up,
Yep.
I can't help you.
What's the conversation like when a kid comes to you, he wants to work out, he shows up, and then you don't see him for a few days?
So I always tell him from the beginning, I think I told you this, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I'll give you everything I can to help you out. But the minute I have to start begging you to come, it's just not, it's not going to work. Like, you're not interested in it. So a lot of times I'll tell kids, listen, here's a workout, follow it for a while. If you're serious about doing it and you want to come back, whatever, I'll help you. I think when I started training Chris, it wasn't just Chris. We had about a dozen kids that were coming.
At first, it was just 3 of us. Then,
Yeah, and then it grew.
more came.
And then it grew back down from like 12 to 8 to 6 to 4 to Chris.
Yeah.
Why do you think kids say they want to work out and then they stop coming?
I think kids see the end result of it, but they don't understand the process of it.
Okay.
So it's like anything in life. Like, we all want a lot of things, but what it takes to get it, we're always not willing to put that in.
Yeah. How do you think we can to help the kids like stay focused and want to strive to be what they want to be instead of just giving up once they feel like they can't do it?
I think we have to develop a culture of success, and I think we've had a lot of successful teams and we've had a lot of successful kids, but I think to get complete buy-in, like when you're at the field house, you see all the logo and branding and all
Yes.
that stuff. That's by design. Like, I want to have like a college atmosphere there, and I want kids to feel like I could be part of this. Like,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
could wear the logo. I could do that. And we're at the beginning stages of that. But I think as that grows, I'm seeing more and more interest in kids and not just playing on a basketball team, playing on a football team, soccer team, whatever, but trying to strive to be the best. A lot. If you look at the wealthy communities, all that's built into their program. If you live in Fairfield County and you go to play, you're a football player, there's enough funding in their booster accounts and all that where kids are at camp all summer, and they're improving their skills. So a lot of rules, like our coaches can't work with our kids in the off season.
Yes.
But if there's a lot of money and there's a lot of funding, the kids could go to camps and all that. So a lot of our kids are started at a disadvantage because they don't have those opportunities. So as much as us as an athletic department could give them, we try our best to do that.
Why can't coaches work with kids in the off season?
It's a CIAC rule, but there's a lot of athletic directors, and especially in urban areas, that have been really pushing the CIAC and working with them on one, equity, and two, changing the off-season rules. So there's proposals out there now, and I think that you're going to see some movement on that next year, and more into the future. The current leadership at the CIAC, I believe, is more serious about equity than at any point that I've been involved in athletics.
Do you think that it's fair that coaches can't work with kids in the off
Oh
season?
no, not at all. Not at all.
Why do you feel that way?
Because I feel like urban districts are at a disadvantage. So I'll use football again as an example. If you're at a summer camp with your team playing football for a month and you come back and your preseason starts, you've now played at the regular season 7 or 8 weeks of football, where our kids played we're in pads for 2 or 3, and now we're starting a season.
Oh, wow. What is the CIAC you said?
Yes.
What's that?
That's the governing body for high school sports in Connecticut.
Do you know anybody over there?
Yeah, so I'm on the boys basketball committee at the CIAC, and anytime any athletic director in any district has to work with the CIAC. They're like the NCAA for high school.
Okay. What is it like over there?
So it's a good question. So CIAC is a governing body. They pull representation from different districts for different committees. They have a board of controls that they appoint themselves, which is interesting. But a couple years ago, they had no urban representation on their board of control. And, New Haven, I don't know about other districts, but we pushed them hard on that. And, we were able to get a lot of people on committees, and they're starting to have, more and more urban representation on their board of control. They also started a student equity committee, which I commended them for that, because I think that's really important because it gives the athletes voices.
Okay, definitely. I agree. Now, sometimes people, they get like so used to like the sunshine that they forget that one day it's gonna rain. So can you talk to me a little bit about your like trials and tribulations and like things you went through, but like behind closed door involving like basketball?
I would say I went through a tough time this year, like when I got hurt during the preseason. Like I would say that, like once I got hurt, like I lost myself. Like I didn't know where I was at. Like I just, not that I gave up on everything, but I wasn't myself. Like, and I thank P for like helping me get back to where I was. So
Being mean to you was
yeah. So like when I got hurt, like it was like, man, I'm hurt. Like what I'm about to do? I spent all my life to this dedicated. I missed everything for this. Like what's gonna happen now? Like I was in I was like in a bad situation. Like I'm like, nah, like I can't go down like this. Like every time I try to play, like I'll get hurt again or it hurt. Like I was just like, I wasn't myself.
Okay.
And then I'll say like once my back started getting better, like I still wasn't me. Like I probably still played, but I still wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Then I had a long conversation with P. Like he got on me like how I wasn't myself from last year, about how like I wasn't the regular Chris that he knows me as. So that conversation helped me a lot. Like it made me get that fire back under me. It made me get back to playing how I'm supposed to play.
How long were you out for?
I missed 2 games, but if like I was playing through other games, but it didn't feel like I was really playing what I was supposed to play like. So
when he was at the West Haven game and he scored 27, he was in immense pain that game. And yeah, remember that? Yeah, like if you look at, like, he's averaging 22 points a game right now. Is that what you're at? Yeah. So, but his first game he coming off injury, he had 11 and then 16. And we knew he had 179 at that point to hit 1,000. And I remember because I keep his points for him, and I remember looking at this going, I hope he's gonna make it.
Yeah.
I hope he's gonna make it. But he got healthy and then he started playing like himself. But it's a lot of pressure. Like people don't realize, like, he's a McClease. His grandfather was a Division I basketball player. His uncle was a 1,000-point scorer. Was a scholarship basketball player. His mom is a 1,000-point scorer. 1,000-point scorer at Albertus. Like
McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, she's McDonald. Like he's a McClease. So like to me, like people have to understand when you look at an athlete, there's a lot more than just their playing ability. So I think as he got close to 1,001, he was hurt, and two, he was feeling a lot of pressure to get there, and I think it was affecting him, his game, but also his emotional state. I think he was just not focused the way that he normally was.
Now, was the injury more of a physical pain or like a mental pain?
I say it was both.
Both. Why is that? Well, with the mental, cause
Like my mental pain, cause like I never really like been hurt before, like, and it was like anytime I was hurt, like I always played through it, but like this pain, that pain I had in my back, I'm like, nah, like I like I don't want to use the word can't, but I was like, nah, I can't do this. I can't play through it. But then like it was just messing up me like mentally. Like I couldn't focus. Like everything I went through, my back. I was making excuses for myself.
yeah. How did you get through that?
Just that conversation. I'm like, nah, like, it don't matter about my back no more. I'm playing the. I want to go far.
Yes.
Like so I'm like my back pain don't matter. I'm gonna be me.
Plus, we knew the injury couldn't be made worse by playing. But the injury he had is a painful injury when you move.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
so it was like you have to build up a pain tolerance to be able to play with it. And one of the things we talked about is every athlete has to go through that. So he never was injured and had to play before, but inevitably, if you're an athlete, you're going to go through that. So a lot of stuff with injuries that are not that you could play with that aren't going to get worse is a social emotional thing because you're kind of. I think that you kind of felt like, why me, right? Like I put in all this work.
I definitely said, why me?
Why you? What is it like to see a person, an athlete you're training, get hurt? What are your emotions?
I was mad. I was mad because I was like, two things with Chris is, so last year people weren't expecting him to go from where he was as a sophomore to junior. So he just like went crazy on the league. But this year they were also keying on him. So they were playing boxing ones on him. They were doubling him when he had the ball. And then he was hurt. But for me personally, I was like going through, because every Sunday that when we started this, I would make his program for the week based on what he was doing. So I'm going back through weeks of training going, what did I do that he's hurt? So I put some of it on me because I'm like, did we deadlift too much? Did we do this too much? Like, how did the injury happen? Like, he initially got hurt in the summer in AAU, and then it re-aggravated. But, anytime you do strength training with somebody, it's for injury prevention. So my mindset was just like, did we hurt Chris initially training, and then it got worse, what happened to him in the game. So I had a lot of that going through my mind, like, what could we have done different?
What kind of injury was it? If you could speak on it.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
He had a SI joint injury, which is it's where your hip and your spine connects to the hip, and it turns a little bit. And when that happens, all the muscles go into spasm. So, like, he went to a chiropractor, they worked it out, he did therapy, stretches, all that. But what happens is the joint becomes unstable. So anytime you get bumped or twisted or whatever, it turns again, and then the muscles go into spasm. So you can't re-hurt it, but it's a long process to get better.
Okay. How long were you going to, like, the chiropractor?
I was going ever since the season was, like, started. I was going for a long time.
Did you ever go on visits with him, like, when he goes to the chiropractor?
Yes.
What was the conversation like with the chiropractor?
We had a really interesting chiropractor. He was like 75 or something years old.
He was old.
So I was like, when he first came in, started talking to Chris and asking him about it, I just thought, oh no.
All right. So, what was it like to first start training Chris?
Honestly, I didn't think he was going to be consistent. I didn't. I told you that a million times.
Yeah.
I kept telling him, if you're not going to come. So when he started, he trained with other kids that were training. But as he really got consistent and he really started making gains, then he started training at the gym, not at the school, separately. So it was rewarding because I got to see, like, we would every couple of weeks go into the gym and weigh him. and we'd be like, "Oh, you gained 2 more pounds. You gained 2.5 more pounds," and then, I've been weightlifting my whole life, but he started catching up to me on because I'm old.
Yeah.
He started catching up to me on the weight, so I was getting scared he was going to pass me, but then he got hurt, so we're good. We're good.
Chris and Eric, I want to thank you guys for coming out once again, and I hope you guys enjoy your night. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.